334 published articles disappeared off a site I own, and I did not notice for months. Those pages had been live, indexed, linked to, sitting in a sitemap. Then there were 404s, every one of them, and the site carried on handing dead pages to anybody who followed a link into it. I found out during an audit I was running for a completely different reason. I recrawled to check I had not misread the output. Same number came back. The words themselves survived, which is the only reason this is a recovery story, instead of an obituary. Every article on that site starts life as a source file in version control, so the text was sitting in a repository the whole time, untouched. What had gone was the published version of it. That distinction sounds small, and it is the entire difference between a bad week and a lost year. How a site quietly drops a third of itself. I am not going to name the property, and I am also not going to pretend I have a clean account of the cause. No hack, no manual action. Nobody deleted anything on purpose that I can find. Somewhere in a migration or a plugin update or a database that came back slightly wrong, the published rows stopped being published. That vagueness is itself part of the lesson. If you do not have a record of what your site contained last month, you also do not have a record of when it stopped containing it. So the cause is the least useful part of this. The process is the useful part, and I am writing it down while I am still in the middle of it. Why the traffic graph does not save you. The site had analytics on it. I look at analytics, that is the bit that bothers me. What the loss of pages looks like in a traffic dashboard is a soft decline. The pages do not all die on the same day, and even when they do, the traffic bleeds off over weeks while the search engine recrawls and drops them. You get a line that slopes gently downward, and the gently downward line looks exactly like 100 ordinary things. It looks like seasonality. It looks like the algorithm update everybody was complaining about that month. It looks like a competitor who finally started publishing. Every one of those explanations is easier to reach for than the truth, which is that a third of your pages stopped existing. I have talked myself out of a downward line before using all of those excuses. So has everyone watching this. The number nobody watches. Here is the number that would have caught it on day one. The count of live published pages on your own site. Not sessions, not impressions. A plain integer. How many pages does this site currently serve? If that integer drops by 334 overnight, nothing in your stack tells you because you never asked it to. It is the easiest measurement in CO and almost nobody takes it, since every analytics product is built around visits and your inventory is somebody else's problem. A sitemap fetch and the line count gets you most of the way there. That is the whole engineering cost of catching this on the day it happens, and I had not spent it. Step 1. Work out what existed. When you do find out, the instinct is to start restoring immediately. Resist that for an afternoon. The first job is boring and it is the one everybody skips. Establish what was actually there. You cannot restore a list you do not have. Reconstructing that list is harder than it sounds. Your live sitemap describes the site as it is now, which is the damaged version. Your CMS lists what it still holds. Neither of them knows anything about the pages that left, so you rebuild the list from outside the site. The search engine's index still remembers URLs it has not got round to dropping. Your analytics history has a page report going back years, and every URL that ever received a single visit is in it. An old crawl file, if you saved one, names pages that no longer answer. The public archive services have hit you more often than you would guess. Pull all of that into one column, deduplicate, and you have a candidate list. It will be wrong at the edges. It is still the best record you are going to get, which is why the real lesson arrives this early. Keep a dated export of your own URL list. One file once a month. It costs nothing, and it is the difference between an afternoon and a week. Step 2. Work out what still exists. Now go looking for the content itself, and go in this order. Version control first, if you have it. This is the whole reason I still have those articles. The source files were committed, so the text, the metadata, and the internal links are all sitting in history at a known commit. Recovering from a repository is a checkout, not a rescue operation. Backups second. The honest caveat is that a backup only helps if the loss is newer than your retention window. If the pages went months ago and you keep 30 days, your backups now faithfully contain the damaged site. A lot of people find out how their backup policy works on exactly this day. The search engine cache third, and do it quickly because it expires. It holds a rendered copy of the page as of the last crawl. The archive services fourth. Coverage is patchy and biased towards pages that got traffic or links, which is normally annoying, and here is convenient because those are the pages you care about anyway. And if none of that lands, you have the option nobody enjoys. Rewrite it from scratch. Sometimes that is the correct answer, which brings me to the part people get wrong. Step 3. Decide what deserves to come back. Do not restore all of it. I know how that sounds. You have just found 334 missing pages, and every instinct says put them back exactly as they were. But a large share of what you lost was earning nothing on any site with a few years behind it. Most of the archive gets no traffic, holds no links, ranks for nothing, and exists because somebody had a publishing quota to hit that quarter. Restoring those is work you do to feel better. So triage on evidence. And the evidence you want comes from outside your own opinion. Does anything link to this page? Did it get search traffic in the last 12 months? Does it rank for a term you actually want to own? Pages that answer yes to any of those, go back first and go back properly. Pages that answer no to all of them can wait, or get merged into something better, or stay gone. A smaller site made of pages that earn is a better site than a big one full of filler. I restored well under half of mine, and I have no plans to go back for the rest. The archive got smaller and the site got better, which was not the outcome I expected when I found the number. The most expensive 404 you own. One category outranks everything else in that queue, and it is why I put link data ahead of traffic data. The 404 on a page somebody linked to is the most expensive dead page you can have. Think about what that link cost. If you bought it, you paid cash. I buy placements, and I have watched one I paid for point at a page that no longer answered, which means I paid money for a link into a hole. If you earned it, somebody read your work, decided it was worth citing, and put their name next to yours. That is much harder to come by than the money is. Either way, the link is still out there, still pointing, and now delivering every click to an error page. Whatever authority it carried is going nowhere. There is a social cost on top of that. The person who linked to you will notice eventually, or their broken link checker will. And the link comes out. Once it comes out, you are not getting it back by fixing the page 3 months later. So the restore order follows your inbound links. Not page age, not alphabetical, not whatever order your CMS happens to list things in. Pull your referring pages, map them onto the dead URLs, sort by whatever quality signal you trust, and start at the top of that. When a redirect is honest, restoring takes time, so redirects are the fast patch, and this is where it gets ethically slippery. A redirect is honest when the destination genuinely answers the same question. You lost a guide to a thing. You have another guide to that thing. Send the traffic there and say so on the page if you can. The reader who followed that link gets what they came for. A redirect is dishonest when you point every dead URL at your homepage. I see this constantly, and I understand the reflex because it takes the 404 count to 0, and the 404 count is the thing being measured from the reader's side. They clicked a link about one specific topic and landed on a front page with no explanations. That is worse than the error page, because the error page at least told the truth. And search engines have treated bulk redirects to the home page as soft 404s for years. So you have not even bought the ranking you were reaching for. My rule is simple. Redirect when I can name the destination out loud and defend it. Otherwise, leave the 404 standing until the real page is back. A visible problem gets fixed, and the hidden one does not. What prevention actually costs? Almost nothing, which is the annoying part. Keep your content in version control. If you are on a CMS, export it on a schedule and commit the export. The value is not the backup, it is the diff. A commit that removes 300 files is loud in a way that a quiet database change never is. Count your live pages and watch that count. Crawl your own sitemap once a week. Write the number down and alert yourself when it moves by more than a few percent. That is 20 lines of script and a scheduled job. And check that the pages other people link to still answer. That list is short and it is the highest value list you own. Once a month is plenty. Between them, those habits turn a discovery like mine into an email you get in the same week it happens. What I got wrong. Now the part I have been putting off. I had all of it. The content was in version control the whole time, which is the only reason I could recover anything. I had analytics with years of page level history in it. I had crawl data sitting on disk. I sell link placements, so I stare at link data more than most people ever will. And I still missed it for months, because none of that was pointed at the right question. Every tool I owned was answering how is traffic doing. Not one of them was answering whether the site still had the pages it had last month. Owning the data and watching the data are different jobs. The recovery took me a few days once I knew what had happened. The not knowing went for considerably longer than the recovery did, and there is no reading of this where that part is anybody's fault but mine. The crawl and the restore checklist I used are at thisodesk.com. Subscribe for more SEO that has actually been tested.